Hi there, I'm Dean Heskin. Thanks for tuning in today to our podcast, The Secret War on Cash. I have with me my co host, Chris Agelastos. We've been talking quite a bit recently about BRICS and some of the things that have been happening with de dollarization across literally, what do you say, across the globe, around the world? I think both of those
Yeah.
work, actually.
Yep.
Um, and one of the things we haven't really touched on a whole lot here in the last few months has been the US national debt. Now, we did talk quite a bit about it because there were some staggering numbers that we were looking at over the course of, roughly a year ago or so.
Mhm.
They're no less staggering. I think there's just been so much focus on tariffs and trade wars and what's been going on with digital currencies. And, you can go through the whole gambit here, if you will, that this has really, really been kind of neglected. And looking here at our first article, the US national debt surged $1 trillion in just 76 days as financial watchdog issues warning to Congress. 1 trillion in 76 days. The previous $1 trillion accumulation of debt on on the US national debt took, if I remember correctly, it's in the article here, like 9 months, I think it was, Chris. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it was about 8 to 9 months. Yeah, from November of 24 to middle of 2025.
Yeah, so now $1 trillion in 76 days, to me, this would suggest things are getting a wee bit out of control.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is I kind of read through this. I mean, I'm sure like many people who are listening right now, you hear stuff about the debt and your eyes kind of roll back in your head. We've been hearing about it forever, but you're talking not that many years ago. I think they said in here actually it took like 10 years for $1 trillion to, be added to the debt. Now we're talking 2 trillion in the what's let's just say it was 9 months, Chris. You have 9 months
Yeah.
plus 76 days. It's less than a year. $2 trillion
Yep.
dollars in less than a year. And
Yep.
so, now the US debt stands at $38 trillion dollars. And here's what's interesting, and this, and I'll let you talk about this,
Hmm.
but the author here in this article talks about how, and this to me, I was like, holy smokes, when I read this, we're in the middle of a shutdown right now. So like what that means is like things that we would normally be paying for, the government that is, we're not paying for. And still we're seeing numbers like this. So like how in the world do they get this debt meter to stop or slow down, especially when you take something that you suspend payments on something that I think is a pretty big contributor to that debt, and not
Yeah.
even that is slowing it down. What happens if and when the government, and we hope it does for several reasons, but when they start up again, then what do these numbers look like?
Right. Yeah. It's certainly it's going to be more pedal to the metal. And when I first read this, thought about it. They state here that the debt is growing twice as fast as our long term average. And so if your average on a road trip is a 60 mile an hour speed limit, we're going 120. So we're going to get there a heck of a lot faster. And you're right, there are no signs of this slowing down. In fact, they even touch on it in here that all three major ratings agencies in the U.S. have downgraded, or I'm sorry, three major rating agencies have downgraded the U.S.'s credit. Our credit rating is going down, and mainly because of fiscal mismanagement and political gridlock. They say here, and we're certainly seeing the gridlock with the shutdown currently, but yeah, it's not good. They say interest payments projected to hit $14 trillion over the next decade. So we're talking about, in increasing the debt a trillion in 2.5 months. How about 14 trillion just in interest payments at some point here in the next 10 years? So definitely something we have to get under control. But you're right. I mean, my entire adult life, the government hasn't been able to get a handle on our national debt, no matter who has been in office, in Congress or otherwise. So I'm not really sure what the solution is here, quite honestly.
Yeah, and as you're talking, I was thinking about it. you know, I wonder who it was and when it was that somebody created the term trillion in terms of
Yeah,
dollars. Like it's become
it's
very
a good point.
familiar now, but like
Hmm.
I'm gonna actually maybe go to Grok or ChatGPT or Google or something. I'm gonna find out because
Yeah.
we throw it around so casually now, but yet it's I can't imagine it's been around forever. And then at some point, somebody's like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, this number is getting a little big. We're going to need to find something bigger." And you know what else I'm going to find out, Chris? I'm going to find out what's after a trillion. I don't know what that is, and I know there are people listening to this who do. And
Is
you
it
can.
is it gazillion? Because I think that's what I said as a kid, but I don't know if
I
that's
thought
a
we just
real
made that
number.
up. Yeah, I thought it
Maybe,
was just something.
maybe.
Somebody,
We
I
never
thought.
thought we'd actually need a real number.
I, I, I I mean, I thought trillion was just kind of one of those numbers we made up, and I know
Yeah.
infinity. We said infinity a lot as kids
Right.
too.
Yeah.
All
Yep.
right. Well, anyways, moving on. So related to kind of the woes of what's taking place here in our country right now, food inflation. The prices, the price spikes of beef, coffee, eggs, and dairy. Well, no shocker there. I
Mhm.
mean, everything's been going up. So the
Yep.
CPI for food at home has surged by 30% since January of 2020. Food prices are nothing to be trifled with. Now, I'm going to let you talk about this. The only thing I am going to say is this, Chris, is that I think these numbers they give us about price inflation on food and everything else, they're all bunk because like
Yeah.
I don't I mean I know that they have different ways that they measure it and things of that nature. But when I say they're bunk, like I I don't shop at Whole Foods here in Arizona. Like
Hmm.
oftentimes, I might go to a Safeway or we have a Bash's. I haven't been to a Trader Joe's and I don't know how long. A lot of it's just having to do with convenience. But here's
Hmm.
the thing. I don't. It's not like I'm buying these food items that are like top shelf and you would expect to pay these exorbitant premiums. I'm shopping
Yeah.
with just everyday average Americans, just like I am.
Yeah.
And the percentage that I'm paying more for the stuff that I'm buying is not even close to what they're saying these price increases are. I'm paying excessively more than that. So am
Yeah.
I wrong or are these numbers wrong?
No, well, what they do is they pick and choose what they want to report on, and obviously can tweak things to make it sound better. In here, they talk about, well, egg prices fell 2.8% in September. Okay, well, that sounds like good. Hey, we're a good thing. We're going in the right direction, and but they leave out that it's still 146% higher than it was 5 years ago when we were going into COVID. So they'll celebrate little wins, if there are some here and there, and that's what they tend to focus on. But still, dairy. They're talking about dairy here, a 22% jump. In the few years after COVID, beef prices 14% up this year. And I'm seeing that. I mean, I try to shop for beef and chicken and things like that at Costco because it usually tends to be a little bit
Good
more
prices
affordable.
and
Yeah,
good quality too.
um, right, right. But I mean, I'm walking through the beef aisle and looking at steak prices, and even though I'm buying a little bit in bulk and trying to freeze stuff, and okay, I can get several meals out of this, or maybe some meals over the next couple of months. When you're grabbing a package of steaks and it's $100, I mean that tells you how out of hand prices have gotten. And with everything else going on in the devaluation of the dollar, we've seen gold and silver prices run up. We've seen almost all market prices run up. So I don't see anything slowing down. Again, they'll point out little wins here and there, but the big trend is that food inflation is persistent, and it's across all the major categories. We can pick a number here and there that might be lower, but at the end of the day, when you leave the grocery store, you're leaving more of your dollars there now than you were just a couple of years ago,
Right.
significantly so.
Right. 100%. Well, and you take the first article we covered about the debt, you take this food, it's not just food inflation, price inflation of all kind.
Hmm.
And the podcast we did just prior to this one, you look at de-dollarization, BRICS, the Enbridge, the new payment system. Here's my point. We've got these issues taking place. The debt, serious issue. Price inflation, just ask any household out there. Pretty serious issue.
Yeah.
And then you have the dollar getting literally the world getting de-dollarized more and more every day. Like how in the world should we? It's very difficult to have hope that there is going to be some kind of a correction here or some kind of a
Hmm.
rejuvenation. It's very difficult to hope that we're going to walk into the grocery store and find things at cheaper prices. So
Right.
at the end of the day, this is the real world that we are living in, and this is why there is a secret war on cash. And I can't remember, I think it was Lenin, actually, not John Lennon, the other Lennon, that said inflation is an insidious process. And he meant by that is that you don't understand or realize the repercussions or ramifications of it until it's already done its damage. And I would agree
Hmm.
with that. You kind of,
Yep.
we just sit there and live and buy the same things, and slowly but surely things just get more expensive, more expensive, and more expensive. And then you're hoping that your salary, your wages grow in conjunction with that. But at the end of the day, and I've talked to a lot of people, still working people, people who are near retirement, and people who are retired, and this has been a major concern for many households out there. So
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. I hate to be the bearer of bad news.
no, you're right. Well, this is where a well-diversified financial portfolio will help counterbalance inflation. Gold and silver, if you're not
Mhm.
aware of that, for those of you tuning in, it has been historically, traditionally, one of the best things you can hold during inflationary periods. So, if you'd like to learn more about gold and silver, if you'd like a free copy of our Secret War Report, please contact us at 1-800-289-2646 or text us at 1-800-289-2646. Same number you can call or text, or visit online at www.swissamerica.com. For those of you who are tuned in to us for the first time, we appreciate you being here. Please subscribe. We'd love to talk to you more in the future. For those of you who've been with us before, thanks again for being here. Look forward to talking to you soon, and have a great rest of your week.
Yep. Take care.